Okay, so with this book, what inspired you to actually give this offering to the people? Like, what made you want to
Um,
share this particular learning?
I lost myself. Um, I was lost in myself, and I felt myself losing myself. And um, I just want to stay productive. Like I don't like to use the crazy word, but I literally felt myself going insane. I had caught COVID, and I tried to not medicate myself, but self sterilize myself in a way where I self quarantine. And what I did was I did what the CDC or whoever you want to listen to said. They said, when you catch COVID or you think you have it, quarantine for about 14 days. So I got to about 8 or 9 days, and I wasn't getting any better. It was no relief. I was actually getting progressively worse. I didn't use the bathroom in 8 days. Anything I ate, I was vomiting. My tongue was white as a rug. Couldn't swallow a cracker. Was having trouble breathing. So I went through literally every side effect of COVID except loss of smell and taste. So I went to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, I was so dehydrated that like I had literally no fluid in my body. That if I would have waited a day or two, I probably would have been wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. So
Wow.
after that, they put me in the hospital for about 5 days, and this is 8 plus 5 is 13. So this is 13 days quarantine, and the quarantine was a little bit more different because I have 3 children, I have a wife, but I also have a luxury, a pro and a con in the situation of having a bathroom in my room. So having a bathroom in my room, I never had a reason to come out my room at all, like nothing. Like my food was brought to me at my door, my bathroom was there, so it was never a reason for me to leave. So that was 8 days of that, and then 5 days in the hospital, which was more of a deeper quarantine because this was at a point where they didn't feel comfortable with COVID at the time. So nurses weren't coming in your room. I had to use a commode. Um, it was just tough. They putting on all of these suits and Tyvek suits just to come give me a menu to order food. So I just commend. I don't know how people go to jail and stay in the hole all of this time because I started to really like have issues. Like I was talking to myself a lot, and I was losing a lot of weight, and I got to do something to stimulate my mind. So nobody was able to come see me. My wife wasn't able to come see kids. Nobody. So one of my favorite cousins was able to find a way to smuggle me in 2 magic markers and a yellow notepad. And she smuggled it in, got it in here somehow. It was like a prison, and they slid it under my door. And I just started to write. And as I started writing, I started to use different analogies of situations that I experienced while I was in the hospital. So it's basically a triple quadruple entendre about COVID, but really about life. So one of the things that I talk about in the book is clean up as you go, um, because you never know. So it's like I use the analogy as like when I didn't like the first 2 days when I didn't move any of my food, it just piled up and started to become really nasty. So what I tried to do was to clean as I went. And as I was cleaning as I went, I felt like I was making smaller motions and smaller movements to progress and to keep myself clean. So one of the quotes that I use in the book is like, "You'll never be ready for the blessings if you're always dirty." So if your trunk is full of trash, your back seat is nasty in your car, somebody want to bless you with six cases of water. You can't even receive your blessing because you're not ready for it. So cleaning as you go allows you to be ready for the things that are for you. So I use my book as analogy. So this is what inspired. I felt like I was writing it for myself, but I knew that it would help so many people. And to this day, people read that book like it's a book that you read over and over again like a reminder. And it's very short. My writing style is very short and to the point. I don't have to. And Dante has said this to me. He says, "I love the way that you write because you're not trying to give a lot of fluff. You get straight to the point. You're not trying to show how intelligent you are, or looking at all of these thesaurus words. I just get straight to the point so that way it could be dissected and regurgitated through from a 10-year-old all the way to 100 years old." So basically, yeah, it kept me from losing my brain.
Cool. I did. That's a dope story. behind the book. So your experience with being alone was kind of forced.
Exactly. I had no choice.
So which would you say is better, choosing to be alone or being forced? How would you tell people if they wanted to experience this journey on by themselves, say 2 weeks, because that seems like what your journey was? Would you encourage them to go into it on their own? Like, how would you advise them to venture into that?
Jay-Z said this, and I'm terrible with lyrics. He said, I went through this basically so you don't have to go through that. Let me be the person who went through it so you don't have to go through it. So I was forced. A lot of people, God willing, will never be forced to sit down, never be forced to go to prison, never be forced to have an illness, never be forced to lose their eyesight or something that causes them to not be able to do what they're normally doing, where it propels them into a situation of solitude, where they have to be forced to think for themselves. So I think it's like beautiful. Like my wife, she takes family hiatuses by herself, where maybe every 2 months or 3 months she take like a 4-day weekend, and she'll go to a hotel and stay at the hotel for 4 days just to give herself a break. And I don't think a lot of us do that. I think like when you tell your mate or somebody that you with, I need a break, as people, we're so internal that we look at ourselves like it's our fault. No, it's a beautiful thing. Go get a spa, go eat Chick-fil-A for breakfast, and lunch have Fridays, and dinner go to, Steak 48 or whatever, just to get to know you. I think we become so selfish in relationships where we think that everybody's happiness is supposed to come from the person that you're with, and I disagree. So I'd rather everybody just add this to their lifestyle, where they take a break every couple months or every couple weeks to give themselves the opportunity to learn themselves and unlearn bad habits and become better. So force me to teach the world to do it on their own.
Okay. So what part, having written the book, what's missing from the book?
That's a great question. And usually I don't get stumped on questions much, but that was a great. What is missing from the book? What's missing from the book is the success stories that people experience after reading them. I wish that I could give people dissertations or opportunities to write essays on how the book helped them, because I think people need to see the effects that it has on so many different ways and walks of life. It's not like just my life. It's not just your life. I think that book really translates to any life. I don't care if you are, whatever you do, I think that it really affects. So I just think that is missing the global response that it needs.
Okay, what has been some of the feedback, other than the success stories? Have you encountered other people who's like, oh yeah, I went on a similar journey, being forced, and this is what I learned? Have you encountered a lot of people coming up to you trying to tell you what they learned when they were on their journey?
I've experienced people telling me what they learned while they were on their journey, but it wasn't from a forced place. It really was from my book. Like I have a friend who called me and was like, yo, I literally went on vacation by myself, booked a trip for a week, went on vacation by myself, and didn't tell any of my friends. And she said it was the most amazing vacation she had. She realized that she loved to take photos. She loved to take pictures of things. And she realized that from just being on the beach, and some other girl from Chicago was out there by myself and said, excuse me, can you take this picture of me with my camera? And she started taking pictures, and they started to get to know each other. And they're good friends now. So she started to post on Instagram where she was on vacation, and she had and in my book, I say, listen, when you take these journeys by yourself and you understand the power of being alone, you will have so many people fighting you and trying to coerce you to believe that what you're doing is a mistake and it doesn't make sense. So be ready to wear your boxing gloves to defend yourself. And she was like, her friends, why wouldn't you call me and tell me, I've been out of work, I would have went. It's weird for you to go on vacation by yourself. Who you with? You really with somebody else? It's a sneaky link. So you go through all of these different things. And she's like, wow, these are the people I need to separate myself from. So I haven't experienced nobody saying I went on the same journey by being forced, but I've opened up the pores of people like, hey, like I read your book and I've I've changed my life, and I think that's the most reassuring thing. That's worth more than money, worth more than anything to me, because I can't say that's what the book was for, but I'm glad that it has that impact of being positive.
So if this journey was an actual physical trip, let's take it there. What are 3 things that you would pack with you?
Mm. Can pen and paper be one thing, or do they have to be 2?
You can make them one thing. It's your world.
All right, cool. Pen and paper. Pen and paper. Headphones. And cell phone. I think if I had those 3 things.
Cell phone is too much. It's too much.
I mean, it allows me to listen to audio books. It has a lot of things that I can partake in, and I could possibly establish the discipline as needed. So erase Instagram, erase Facebook, erase all of those things, and just focus on the things that really help me while I'm on this journey.
Okay. So not taking your phone as is, taking a more, okay, because I'm thinking taking your phone is like taking your world.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to I might as well not even go or take everybody with me.
Yeah. I was thinking, okay. I think those are excellent tools to take because you definitely need to journal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of journaling. You need to see how ridiculous you were thinking at one point, or at least where you came from at one point. So huge fan of that.